right, welcome to First and Filoni, our second draft spectacular here. With me is the Iron Man himself, Marathon Man himself, an NFL expert, Mr. Kyle Rigg. How's it going, bud?
Good. How's it going?
Not too bad, man. I remember, if you remember last year, I think you won the day with like 7 or 8 correct picks, and I think I had 3 or 4. So this is not my expertise, and we know you're going to do well at it. But to kind of set the tone for everybody here, we each have done a mock draft. We've also uh, completed with trades as well. So we'll go ahead and just going to say them verbally and just kind of go with it. I think it's kind of safe to say we already know who this first pick is going to be for the Chicago Bears. That's going to be Caleb Williams. Any
Yeah.
disagreements?
No.
No. Okay. Next, where it gets into the fun stuff, right? This is your team here, the Washington Commanders. A lot has been said on who's going to be, who fits better with Kingsbury. I'm gonna let you go ahead and go first. Who do you think this is going to be here, and who do you want? Who do you prefer?
I think it's gonna be Drake Mace the pick. I think Daniels is more who I would want as of right now, but I think May's ceiling is going to probably be higher in the future. So I
Yeah.
think May's gonna be the pick.
I see. I had May until like this morning, and I switched it to Daniels. The only reason being, Daniels is more mobile quarterback, and that seems to be what Cliff Kingsbury likes. If you look at his
Yes.
past history, but I think Mariota can start and have May sit and learn, and if he does that, I think May's the better quarterback. So
Yeah.
I'm going with Jaden Daniels. You're going with Drake May. I'm kicking myself now because you would know better than I would with the Commanders here. So we'll see here who that goes. I've been telling you, I've been speaking up Drake May for years now for you. So
Yeah.
I really, really hope you like him if you guys end up getting
I'm sure we will, hopefully.
him. All right, so the third pick here, we're gonna go ahead and go with the New England Patriots are on the clock here. Please let me know at any time if you do have a trade. I don't. I still have the New England Patriots staying here. I actually have them picking Drake May.
I have them picking Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to go around in circles with what we kind of just said. And I think
Yeah.
these two can kind of be like interchangeable, right? At this time, I think Daniels is the better player, but May has the higher ceiling, like you said.
Yeah.
Um, May is a monster of a man, and he doesn't look that big. So, like, and I just worry, I wonder if Daniels will fit in with the Boston crowd with their history with the players that they like. So, I'm not sure
Yeah.
about that as well. All right, well, we're flying through these picks here, but I think the first three are always going to be those three.
Yeah.
Um, Arizona Cardinals on the clock here. They have 7 picks in the first 72 or something like that. So it's absolutely insane. I don't think they're trading this one. I think they're staying. But who do you have the Cardinals taking at 4?
For a while, I had him taking Nabbers, but I changed it to the more safe pick that everyone's doing with Marvin Harrison.
Yep, yep. I have Marvin Harrison as well. I think Neighbors is more of your slot guy. He's more of the agile, and Marvin Harrison's a complete outside receiver. And I don't think the Cardinals have that. Now, uh, Gannon is a defensive guy. I really was looking at any defensive players, but in this draft, I think it's very offensive tackle heavy. I think it's very wide receiver heavy.
Yeah.
And you'll see that throughout my draft. But I wouldn't be surprised if they traded back to get more of a defensive like team here in the first round, like they did last year. But I have Marvin Harrison Jr. as well as the first pick. In my initial draft, I did have the Colts trading, but like that's just an insane amount that they would have to get up or
Yeah.
give up for him. But yeah, Marvin Harrison's the pick here. Next at number 5, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, Los Angeles Chargers, any trades yet so far?
I have a trade right here.
I do as well. So let's go ahead and hear your trade here first.
So I have the Vikings trading up to
Yep.
take JJ.
Yep, I do as well. We're both thinking the same thing. Vikings are taking JJ McCarthy out of Michigan. I think it's a stretch, and I think it's a dumb, dumb, dumb play.
Yeah. But
Do you
yeah,
have them trading both of their picks, the
I
11 and
do.
20? Yep.
Do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the only way they do it. JJ McCarthy
I,
comes into probably the best offense out of the four that need one just because of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
so,
But
yep.
what are your thoughts on McCarthy? Do you think that's too high for him at 5?
I don't. I think he can excel, and if you don't ask him of too much, if you're not asking him to go out there and throw for 400 yards, I
Yeah,
think he can excel. If you just hand the ball off, do 15, 20 passes a game, kind of what he did at Michigan,
yeah.
I think he can excel. But if you're going to ask him to go out there and throw it 40 times, I don't think he'll excel. No,
I'll be interested to see what they do because I bet they draft another running back. They just got Aaron Jones in the offseason, which is a big pickup, but Aaron Jones is older. He does help out in the pass game, but they every team needs at least 2 running backs, and they don't have a second one on this list. So I'll be interested to see if uh they do anything there. So far, out of the first 5 picks, we're pretty much in agreement, except for second and third, and I think you're probably more right on that one. Um, and we did both just have our first trade. The next pick is going to be the New York Giants. New York Giants. I have them staying as well, keeping this pick. I think Malik Neighbors is the pick here. I think they're happy with any of the receivers.
great.
But Malik Neighbors, I think they're at this point, 4 quarterbacks are gone. They didn't get a trade with Arizona or the Chargers, or even New England. So I think they're gonna give Daniel Jones 1 more year and take Malik Neighbors.
I agree. That's my pick.
Now, if you were a GM, man, who would you take? Would you take Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison, or Malik Neighbors? Like who would you prefer?
I think Neighbors. I think he's the next next one.
I think so as well, and the only reason being is like he's more twitchy than Marvin Harrison.
I agree. Yeah. That's what my kind of I think his yards after the catch are better. His
Yeah.
ability to get open and create separation is better than Harrison's.
I think Marvin Harrison's probably the better prospect, and he's probably going to have a solid career. But I just was never impressed with him in college. Like granted, he never. I mean, C.J. Stroud was his only real quarterback, and he didn't play that last season. And Kyle McCord was not very good, but like he just never really impressed me. Um, Even though I know his numbers are there, he has the pedigree and everything like that.
Yep.
Um, all right, moving on. Tennessee Titans at number 7. I don't have a trade here. Do you?
I do not.
Who do
I
you have the Titans taking?
Joe Alt.
Joe All, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. I think we were in the same as well because that is who I have too. They have 2 receivers. I thought about putting Rome Odunze here as well for because Hopkins is getting a little bit older, but I think they want to solidify the offensive line and go back to more of an old school style.
I agree. I agree. Yep.
And I think they're definitely missing Taylor Lewan last year. So this will help out. They did pick out an offensive lineman last year. So have 2 bookends that are very young. I think that's a great pick. Okay, number 8, Atlanta Falcons. This is where you pulled the um pick of the century last year with the Atlanta Falcons. You picked Bijan Robinson
I
to
did.
the Atlanta Falcons, and I was just stunned at that point. So who you have the finger on the pulse of the Atlanta Falcons? Who you got going here?
I have the first defensive player coming off with Dallas Turner.
This isn't much different than mine either, man. I have Dallas Turner as well. They need a whole bunch of help on defense. I could see Dallas Turner. I could see Terry and Arnold, and I can see Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy is an interesting one. I almost put him here, but I think the edge rusher, Dallas Turner, I think this is where he goes. All right. Well, I mean, there's not much discourse that we can argue about going forward here. Chicago Bears at 9. Chicago Bears at 9. I'm going to go ahead and go on this one. Bear with me. I think this is my second trade of the night. I think Chicago Bears trade down because they need more picks. I think they trade down to number 15 with Indianapolis, and Indianapolis takes a wide receiver, Rome Odunze. The reason why I think they take him and I think it's the Colts, is because they want to have a passing attack for Anthony Richardson. I think their offensive line is going to be okay. They got two or three
Yeah.
really good running backs. Their defense is gonna be pretty solid, and I think there's defensive help later on. But I think they need a true number one receiver, and I'm not sure Pittman is that. If it is, then they'll have two with Rome Odunze.
Right. So my pickle might shock you. I have them staying, taking the edge out of UCLA, Lato, to get some defensive help. I was gonna pick Rome, but first Bears, but I was like, they got DJ, they got Keenan Allen now.
Yeah,
They don't need the wide receiver help, and they need big help on the defensive side of the ball.
so put him on the other
For
side of Sweat.
Yep,
That's interesting. I could see that. I could see that. I could see that. And I could see them even going offensive tackle here if they stay. Oh, okay. So you have back-to-back edge rushers. That's interesting.
I do.
Now, if you were a GM, who would you rather take, Latu or Turner? Because I
Turner.
don't think either one of them are that great. I think Turner had a bad year last year when Will Anderson was gone.
Okay, yeah. I think Turner is the better prospect. I
Yeah,
think being in the SEC, he's
yeah,
going against better offensive linemen than you would do from the UCLA.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Okay, all right. Number 10, the New York Jets. Okay, so you're staying there, New York Jets. New York Jets are on the clock at 10. Who do you have them taking?
Offensive tackle from Penn State. Is that is
Interesting.
that who you have?
It is not. I have another trade here.
Really?
I have them trading back. The Jets do not have a second rounder. I think this is where they get a second rounder and some. I think they trade with Arizona for the 27th pick. And they
Okay.
get a second rounder and maybe a fourth or fifth. Um, and I think Arizona takes Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo, cornerback.
Okay.
So Jets offensive tackle is I'm assuming that's because they want to protect Aaron Rodgers at what 40 years old next year.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I
I
think
can
they
see that
need.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think if the Jets do stay, I think an interesting one that they could look at. I think offensive tackle is probably the play, especially if the draft goes the way that we think that it's going to go. But I think another one to maybe even take like a little sniff at here for gambling odds is Brock Bowers. Um, I'm worried that that might be too early for him, which is
Uh-huh.
foreshadowing. I think why they trade. Um, but I could see offensive tackle. And the kid from Penn State was supposed to be a top 10 pick. Fashanu, I can't say his first name. But the
Yeah.
dude's good. He's solid. And in that league, you're versing Von Miller. You're versing Johnson from the Jets. You're versing a couple other great edge rushers. Patriots always have a good defense, so they need to have a good protection, and you have a quarterback that is getting older. So the reason
Yep.
why I went with Quinion Mitchell for cornerback out of Toledo, um, Gannon is a defensive guy. I said it earlier with Arizona's fourth pick. I think they do quite a bit of moving because they do have those 6 or 7 picks in the first 72, and they need defensive back help. They need defense help quite a bit, and I think Mitchell's an amazing prospect. I could see Terrion Arnold here, but I'm going to go with Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. Okay, so the next pick here is the Minnesota Vikings, but we both have the Chargers who traded with them for this pick. So the Chargers are on the clock at 11. I'm gonna go ahead and go.
Okay.
Chargers new coach. What is Jim Harbaugh known for? Big solid play, big offensive line, running the ball. So I'm going with offensive tackle Fashanu out of Penn State here. So not too much further down the line from what you had. Um,
Okay.
big
So
boy to help protect Herbert, get that running game going. They need receivers, but offensive tackles. They're going to change the identity of the Chargers.
right. So I have them taking Rome Adunas, wide
Odunze,
receiver. I think they're going to be ecstatic to take that pick at 11, moving
yeah,
back to
yes,
take him at 11 and then still have another one later in the draft. I think that plays out perfect for them.
Now, do you think that because Harbaugh saw Odunze in the national championship, do you think that kind of taints that pick, like that he might not like him?
I think that's just one game. I mean, Harbaugh's very good defensive coach. So I think over if you look over his college career, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he's gonna like the pick. And they got rid of all their wide receivers and they need wide receiver help.
yeah. I think if Odunze's at 11, that's a steal. I think those
Yeah,
neighbors, Odunze, Harrison Jr., should go in the top 10. But if he's there at 11, I could see them going there too.
yeah,
Which is an interesting pick because they don't have any receivers right now, right?
yep,
Lost Keenan Allen, lost Mike Williams. Who's their number one receiver? Smart, but he's a tight end. I don't know. So that's
yeah.
probably right. I can see that. Next pick is the Denver Broncos at 12. Uh, shocker. I have another trade here. My third trade of the night. The Denver Broncos are going to trade back to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is going to move up and get the cornerback that they desperately need with Terrion Arnold.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I have them taking the Broncos staying and taking Penix.
Oof. Don't you think that's a little high though for
I
Penix,
do.
man?
I
A
think it's
lefty
high, but
quarterback?
I think it's going to be high. And I think McCarthy trading up was high, but
Yeah,
they're in need of a quarterback. And I think they
yeah.
just traded for Wilson. Is that where Wilson went?
Zach
Zach Wilson.
Wilson. Zach Wilson. They just traded for Zach Wilson. So they'll have a
And
QB battle potentially.
yeah,
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, so that pick where I had quarterback here as well. But that trade for Zach Wilson kind of made me rethink it. I like Penix. I think he's a great quarterback. He's a lefty. They already had a lefty in Denver once with Tim Tebow. It didn't really work out that well.
yeah.
But the if Penix is high on what's his name, the coach,
Peyton, Sean Payton.
Sean Payton, if he's high on his board, I mean, Drew Brees had injuries after injuries, and he was still a stud until his last season. So I
Yeah.
think that I could see that as well. Penix going there. That's interesting. So you have five quarterbacks in the first 12 picks.
Yep. That's my last quarterback
That's
in the first round, though.
oh oh man. Oh man, that's kind of scary. Okay, so Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders is interesting here at 13. I was texting you earlier saying that Jaden Daniels is his mentor is Antonio Pierce because they both went to Arizona State to start.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if May does go to the Commanders, what kind of package the Raiders will send to the Patriots at this point to try to pick up Jaden Daniels. Because I
If
could
they're
see
high
that
on him.
here.
Yeah, if
If
they're high
they
on him, they
they
will.
are. They are. And then like that'd be very interesting to see him in the Raiders because look at that division then. You got Mahomes, you'll have Jaden Daniels, you'll have Justin Herbert, and then whoever Denver goes with at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe Michael Penix, right? Like so that'd be interesting. But who do you have the Raiders taking at 13?
Offensive tackle, Oregon State,
Yep.
Fuga.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I can't pronounce this guy's name, but he's solid. So the Pac-12 has two solid tackles, and I think they're going to go pretty close to each other. Uh, Fuaga and Fatuanu out of Washington, and I think it's a toss-up between these two at this pick here. Also, maybe even a flyer at J.C. Latham out of Alabama, the tackle. Um, but the Raiders, I think, with Antonio Pierce, he's going to be like the same type for Harbaugh. Wants to get back down
Mhm.
and dirty and get more physical. They got high flying offenses in that, so let's slow the ball down and try to run it maybe some more. Um, so we're both the same with that pick there. Number 14, New Orleans Saints. Um, I don't have them trading. I actually just mentioned the pick that they I think they're going to take. Offensive tackle from Alabama, J.C. Latham.
I haven't taken Edge, Florida State, Jared Vars.
Jared Verse. Now that's a stretch, man. I haven't heard that one. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting. Have you seen any of Jared Verse's game? He's
A
a
little
big
bit.
dude.
He is a big dude.
He's a big dude, and that'd be interesting to put him on the other side of Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan is getting pretty old now, right?
Yeah.
So I could see that. I could see that. Okay, so number 15, Indianapolis Colts. Remember, I had a trade with Chicago, so right now Chicago's on the clock for me. You still have Indianapolis here, correct?
Correct.
Who do you have Indianapolis taking?
So how you had Indianapolis trading up for offensive help for Richardson. I have him staying here, take him tight end, Brock Bowers,
Ooh,
to give him that offensive help in the
that'd be
tight.
interesting. They would have a pretty good offense then, because you got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. Anthony Richardson, I think, is a stud. Bowers at tight end, Pittman and Pierce on the outside. That'd be a pretty good offense. That'd be a pretty scary offense. Interesting. Okay, okay. So I have Chicago. And kind of, I believe you had Chicago taking the edge rusher Latu. I went defense as
Mm-hmm.
well, but I went Byron Murphy the third out of Texas, defensive tackle. Um,
Okay.
I think they, since they have Sweat on the outside, they want to get pressure up the middle, and this guy just wrecks havoc and will have Sweat just dominate the defense. And if they take Byron Murphy here, I think Chicago might have a top 10 defense next year. Okay, so 16, we're about halfway done here. Seattle Seahawks at 16. I have them staying. I mentioned this guy a little bit earlier, Troy Fatuanu, offensive tackle out of Washington.
I have Byron Murphy going right here. Next pick to Seattle.
So then they'll have Wilson, right? Wilson last year, and then Murphy this year, right? Did they get Wilson last year? No,
Mm,
I can't remember who they got last year.
I can't remember either.
That's an interesting pick. They need offensive line help, man, and they don't have a quarterback. I saw some links to maybe Michael Penix here if he's still here at this
Oh,
point.
really?
Yeah. Um, but I could okay. I mean, I'm big on Byron Murphy. I would if
Yeah.
in a dream scenario, I would love him to fall to the Steelers, but he's not going to.
Don't
So
the Seahawks have Geno Smith?
yeah,
Isn't it?
but he's last 2 years he's gotten hurt,
Oh, true. Okay.
and Drew Lock is their backup. And I like Drew Lock, but he's not a starter. He's a
Oh,
bridge
yeah.
guy at best. So
Yeah.
okay. Next pick here is the Jacksonville Jaguars at 17. Interesting offseason they had. They let Murphy go. They signed Gabe Davis. Um, Trevor Lawrence, I think this might be a make or break year for him. They just gave a big contract to Josh Allen, which I think is huge. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NFL.
Yeah.
Who do you have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking here at 17?
Cornerback Alabama, Arnold.
Terrion Arnold. That's interesting. If I didn't have Philly trading up, it would be Mitchell or Arnold here as well. I originally had Nate Wiggins out of Clemson.
Oh,
Um, they do need defensive help, but I don't think they go defensive here. I think they want their offense to shine, and I think they go wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU.
okay.
They need a number one guy. Kirk isn't a number one guy. He's a slot guy. Gabe Davis is your over the top guy. He's not a number one. They don't. Zay Jones is a slot guy as well. So I think they go wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. here. Okay. All right, we're going flying through this here. Next pick is the 18th pick, Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals. I don't have them trading here. They need help on offense and defensive line. In the league that they're in, with all the good quarterbacks they have, I think they need an edge rusher here. And I'm going Latu, edge rusher out of UCLA.
So I have him going defensive tackle, Illinois, Johnny Newton. Um, to get same thing, D line help. They need D line help.
Yeah. So you have Newton here. What are your thoughts? Do you think he's going to go above the kid from Missouri, Darius Robinson?
Well, Darius Robinson, I have him as an edge. He's
Okay.
um
I
I
guess
think they're
yeah,
pretty
Newton's a little
close.
bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on, I guess, if they want edge help or interior line help, which one they're gonna value more,
See,
depending on.
I have Robinson as an inside guy, so
Okay.
I guess he could probably play both. It just kind of depends on the system. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. All right, Newton there. I don't have him in the first round, so that'll be interesting. I think this is where we start to see a little bit of difference here.
Yeah.
Okay, so 19th pick is the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams have not taken a first round pick in since McVay's been there, I don't believe. This would be their first pick. Do you have them taking a pick, and who is it? Who do you have them
I
taking?
have a trade right here, and it's gonna be a stretch.
Me too.
So I have the Chiefs trading
Ooh.
up right here to take Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver LSU.
So they just signed, or they just signed Hollywood Brown. That doesn't
Oh,
sway
did
you?
that?
Yeah,
Oh,
they just signed Hollywood Brown. They do need or they do need receiver help because I think Rice is. We'll see if he gets
yeah,
suspended this year. um,
yeah. I
I
I
don't
don't think
think that's a
so.
bad pick, man. I don't think that's a bad pick.
I mean, it's gonna be a stretch to come from 32 to 19 like that. It's gonna take a pretty big package, and I don't know if
Well, the Rams
Reed
don't have
can
many
do that.
picks, so
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, and the Rams, they don't need a wide receiver at all.
no, no,
Yeah,
no. They got two
no,
really good ones.
yeah. So they,
I can see Brock Bowers going here potentially for the
yeah.
Rams if they do take him. But Thomas, ooh, that'd be interesting. Gosh, Andy Reid does not need another weapon. Goodness.
I mean,
Oh,
Chiefs, they need a wide receiver because they led the league. Their wide
yeah.
receivers led the league in drop passes. So I
I
think,
yeah, I think the Chiefs do draft one. I don't think it's till the second round, but they could trade up. I mean, I could see that. That'd be interesting. I had Thomas Jr. going a little bit earlier. A lot of people have him to the Steelers, which they would need to trade up. You're right. That's right in the area they would need to trade up. The Steelers weren't going to pick him here um, at 20. So 19, interesting. Chiefs, Thomas Jr. I like that. I have them trading, but I have them trading to a different team, the Buffalo Bills. And I do have the Bills taking wide receiver A.D. Mitchell out of Texas. I think he's the bigger upside, better catching prospect for Josh Allen since they just lost Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. They have the Shakir guy who's pretty good, but outside of that, they don't have anybody. They need a wide receiver. Brandon Bean's not afraid to trade up. I think they trade and get Mitchell here out of Texas. Okay, number 20, Pittsburgh Steelers. This is my team. Now I'm going to tell you two paths, so I'll let you go first. Who do you have the Steelers taking, and then I'm going to tell you my what I want to happen, what I think realistically is going to happen.
so I haven't taken offensive tackle Georgia memes.
Mims, Arterius Mims. I like that pick.
Yeah. Okay.
I really like that pick. I could see them doing that and have him and Broderick Jones be our two ends for the future. But the problem is the Steelers really need interior line help. Um, and I think this is where now mock draft. This is my answer for the mock draft. Is going to be Graham Barton out of Duke. He can play both guard tackle, or he can play both guard and center, and he can also play tackle. Smartest lineman in the board. I think it's going to be him. But the con artist is the con artist, man. He is trading everybody. It is a new regime here in Pittsburgh, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get Brandon Ayuk in a trade for the 20th overall pick here. And if that happens, I think San Francisco takes a wide receiver, and I think it'll be either Xavier Worthy or Lad McConkey. But I have Graham Barton. I don't have Ayuk. I want Ayuk. I don't have him. I think we draft a receiver in the second round. Um, I think I could see the Steelers trading back and getting some more capital to go up and get a receiver in the second. But I think Graham Barton is the pick here, and I would be okay with that. I'd be okay with Mims. I'd be okay with J.C. Latham, and I'd be okay with Zach Frazier. I just don't want the guy from Oregon. Like, no. All right, 21st here. We got about 10 minutes left here in about 11 picks, 12 picks. We have the Miami Dolphins here. Miami Dolphins. I have them taking Darius Robinson out of Mizzou. They lost a lot on the defensive line with uh, Wilkins and the other guy, so I'm going to go here, start to replace that defensive line.
So I have him taking offensive tackle Washington, Benute.
Oh, Fatuanu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that here. They do need offensive line help. Okay. Philadelphia Eagles here, number 22. I had them in a trade earlier with the Broncos, so the Broncos are on the clock for me. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles are still on the clock for you, correct?
Correct.
Who do you have Philly taking?
Cornerback Tulin Mitchell.
You mean Quinyon Mitchell
Yes.
from Toledo? Yes.
Uh,
Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. Okay, I have him going earlier. And remember, I had Philly trading up to get Terran Arnold. I could see that as well. That'd be a great pick for Philly there. Um, this is where my fifth quarterback comes off the board. I think Michael Penix goes to Washington. Buddy goes here. I could see Bo Nix. I could see Bo Nix being a Sean Payton guy. But I don't think he's a first round guy. So I think it's Michael Penix here. Excuse me. So we both have Denver taking Michael Penix, if that makes you feel any better, right? Like
oh,
just
ew.
just in different
It's a
places.
different time.
Okay. Number 23. It was the Minnesota Vikings. We both have them with the Chargers. I have the Chargers sticking to a Jim Harbaugh game plan, and I have them going Nate Wiggins, cornerback out of Clemson.
Same. Same.
He's a big cornerback. I can see that for Michigan guys. Will like that. I could see them going defensive line here as well, or even I still have Brock Bowers on the board. I can see Brock Bowers going here. Okay, number 24. We have the Dallas Cowboys. Who knows where they're gonna go, man? This is your division. Who you got?
I haven't taken J.C. Latham, offensive tackle from Alabama. They let a lot of offensive line walk in free
Yeah.
agency. So I think they're gonna try to take an offensive lineman.
I can see that, and I can see them trying to move up because at this point, I have like 6 or 7 offensive linemen already taken. So I have them actually taking the wide receiver here, Xavier Worthy out of Texas. Keep the kid in state. Give another weapon for Dak Prescott, and then he has zero excuses because then he'll have fast Worthy on the outside and CD Lamb, and he has no more excuses for Prescott.
Right.
Green Bay Packers at 25. I have them sticking with the Midwest guy and being a very Midwest team. I'm going to go with Cooper DeJean out of Iowa.
I have them taking Kool-Aid, cornerback out of Alabama.
So we both have cool cornerbacks here. We just I went for the white guy out of Iowa before Kool-Aid, and you probably picked the better prospect. But I think, yeah, I can see either one of them there. They do need defensive help. Jair is the only they need defensive help. Like they have the offense, they need help. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 26. They need quite a bit of help here, but I think their offense is going to be okay. I think they go edge rusher Jared Verse out of Florida State.
So I have them taking edge rusher Darius Robinson out of Zoo.
Mizzou. I can
Yeah.
see that as well. They desperately need defensive line help here, and I think
Yeah.
that's a very solid pick. All right, here. So number 27, Arizona Cardinals. This is where I had the Jets trade, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be mad at the beginning of the night and then happy at this part because I think they take Brock Bowers here at 27. I think Brock Bowers falls because of injury concerns and his
Okay.
lack of blocking experience because Georgia had him out at wide receiver. A lot of people don't think that they can block.
Yeah. I have them taking Chop Robinson, edge out of Penn State.
Yeah, that he's a solid player too. Like he's so good. And then you'd have 2 really good edge rushers in the Jets. That'd be and then Quentin Williams in the middle would be nasty. Um Okay, next we have is the Buffalo Bills. Remember, I had the Rams trading back, and I think they actually take a first round pick here, and it's Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma.
So I have them taking the same person you had them taking, just staying in their spot for it. Mitchell, wide receiver, Texas.
I think that's a perfect fit, and I think uh, Mitchell would be wonderful for the Bills there. Okay, let's go ahead and knock these last four out here. We'll go pretty quickly. You go ahead and just tell me who you got. We got the Lions, Ravens, 49ers, and Chiefs.
All right. So I got Lions taking Worthy, wide receiver, Texas, put on the other side of St. Brown.
Interesting.
I got the Ravens taking offensive tackle from Oklahoma, Tyler Guyton, to give some offensive line help. 49ers taking Cooper DeJohn, safety from Iowa. And then, so I had the Chiefs trading with the Rams earlier. The Rams are going to take TJ Tampa, cornerback out of Iowa State.
Interesting. I can see where you're doing that. I just don't know if the Detroit. Do you think the Detroit Lions need another weapon? Is the question. I don't knock Dan Campbell. I'm sure he will. I have him going a little bit differently. I have Zach Frazier, guard or inside lineman for West Virginia, going to the Lions. I have Kool-Aid McKinstry, going from cornerback from Alabama, going to the Ravens. I have my boy Lad McConkey going to the San Francisco 49ers, wide receiver. Just go
Not
ahead
bad.
and fit with the rest of their offense. Another white guy out there. And then Kansas City Chiefs, I have them taking Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle from Arizona. All right,
Okay.
well, that's the show, man. Thank you again for sitting here with me and bearing with us on the second go through because the first one didn't record. Thank you guys for listening as well. Our show should be starting back up in the summer, along with potential playthroughs with the new NCAA game coming out. That's all I got for you, man. And thanks again, everybody, for listening.